You're buying me the car or there's no wedding. Most people think a relationship ends with a scream or a slammed door. But for me, it ended with a hum. The low, mechanical drone of our refrigerator. My fiancé, Elias, didn't say it with a wink or a nervous smile. He said it like he was reading a weather report. He wanted a luxury SUV. He wanted it in my name because his credit was, in his words, temporarily annoying. He thought he was winning. He thought he had me backed into a corner. What he didn't realize was that the moment he placed a price tag on our I do's, I wasn't his fiancée anymore. I was a woman planning an exit so quiet, he wouldn't even hear the lock click. Today's story is a masterclass in why you should never mistake a woman's silence for submission. If you've ever had someone try to leverage your love against you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel because today we're watching a narcissist realize, too late, that you can't control someone who has already let go. Elias was a man of structure. His Pinterest boards for our wedding were more organized than my retirement account. Color-coded spreadsheets, elevated aesthetics, non-negotiable groomsmen suits that cost more than my first car. I had already paid the venue deposit. I'd paid the photographer. I was carrying the weight of our future while he was busy curating it. But the SUV? That was the reward. A prize for the stress of wedding planning. When he dropped the ultimatum in the kitchen, I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just felt this click, like a light switch turning off in a room I was never going back into. Understood, I said. One word. He smiled. He thought understood meant yes, master. He thought I'd fallen back into line. But to me, it was the sound of a contract being terminated. The strategic visibility. That night, while he slept the sleep of a man who thinks he's successfully bullied his way to a new car, I went to work. I didn't pack a bag, not yet. I packed my calendar. For months, my life had been in orbit around planet Elias. I had stopped seeing my too observant friend Sarah because she asked questions he didn't like. I had skipped brunches to help him with his spreadsheets. That weekend, I resurrected my life. Breakfast with college friends. A coffee with ex-coworkers. I wasn't sneaking around. I was being publicly independent. I posted pictures. No captions about freedom, just a smiling selfie with a latte. A group photo at a bar. I tagged the locations. I wanted him to see that my attention, the very thing he used as his primary currency, was no longer parked at his feet. The Grenade specialty. Friday morning, Elias was back to his specialty. He had this way of dropping an emotional grenade, watching it blow your world apart, and then stepping over the rubble like he was on a morning stroll. Did you check the dealership hours? He asked, kissing my cheek while I brewed coffee. He even reminded me that his friend Marcus got a luxury car before his engagement ring. I've got it handled, I replied. He relaxed. He was smug. He was relieved. To Elias, as long as the momentum was moving toward his desires, the road was perfectly fine. But that night, I didn't ask permission to go out. I grabbed my keys and walked. With who? He asked, startled. People, I said. I met Sarah. We sat in a dimly lit shop and talked about how strange it is when someone starts narrating your future like you're just a background character in their biopic. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. Who's Sarah? I waited 10 minutes. An old friend. No emojis. No, sorry babe, be home soon. Just a gap. Elias hated gaps. Gaps meant he wasn't steering. The breakfast performance. By Sunday, Elias changed tactics. This was the softness pivot. I woke up to the smell of bacon and fresh fruit. He had set the table like a stage designer. You've been distant, he said, sliding a plate toward me. Yeah, I said, taking a bite. Just thinking. About what? Life. He started to itch. Silence was uncooperative, and Elias needed cooperation. He grabbed my hand, squeezing just a little too hard. Weddings are stressful, he said, his voice a polished lie. Sometimes people say things they don't mean. There it was. The rewrite. He was trying to turn his ultimatum into a moment of stress. You meant it, I said, pulling my hand away. Well, yes, but I was just being honest about my expectations for a partner. Expectation. I corrected him. Not a discussion. The intervention. Tuesday night, I walked into an ambush. 2 wine glasses on the counter. His mother's coat on a stool. Elias was sitting next to her, not across, already aligned. Norma, his mother said with that fake, invasive sweetness. Elias says you've been hesitant about commitments. I didn't even take off my coat. Did he tell you he told me there would be no wedding unless I bought him a car? The silence hit the floor like a lead weight. His mother's face shifted. Calculation replaced the concern. That's not how it was phrased. Elias snapped. Because it sounds awful when phrased accurately, I replied. His mother tried to save him. Marriage is about sacrifice, sweetheart. Sometimes one person steps up more. I said. I paid the venue, the photographer, the suits, the catering. Tell me, Elias, what part of your emotional presence covers the $15,000 I've already spent? He exploded. He called me self-righteous. And then he said the line that ended it all. You think you can do better? He was measuring my willingness to stay against my fear of being alone. He thought I was calculating my market value. He didn't realize I was already out the door. Saturday morning was the cake tasting. Elias emerged from the bathroom in a robe, damp hair, acting like the last week hadn't happened. Tasting is at 11. Don't be late. I'm not going, I said from the couch. What? Norma, this is important. That's what engaged people do. And what controlling people do, I said, standing up, is schedule someone else's time without asking and call it commitment. You gave me an ultimatum. You brought your mother to bully me. Do you want a transaction? Fine. Here's the final bill. I grabbed my bag. You're really throwing it all away over a car? He yelled. No, I said, my hand on the latch. I'm leaving over what the car revealed. You were supposed to love me without conditions. I'm just noticing that you don't. I moved into a friend's spare room. The messages poured in. First, the adult Elias. Can we talk like adults? Then the compromise Elias. I'm willing to negotiate the car. I didn't answer. I went to work. I ate lunch. And for the first time in months, my chest didn't feel like it was being squeezed by a vice. I met him one last time at a loud, crowded coffee shop. He looked calibrated, the perfect amount of red in his eyes to show he'd been crying. We don't need the car, he whispered. I just want us. That's the problem, Elias. You only stopped caring about the car when it stopped working as leverage. You weren't asking for a partnership. You were asking for proof that I would bend far enough to break. He tried one last jab. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, but not today. And definitely not tomorrow. I walked back to the apartment while he was out. I took down our engagement photo and laid it face down on the counter. I put the ring box on the kitchen table, right where he'd see it. I didn't leave a note. Norma didn't need a revenge SUV. Her revenge was the silence that followed. She didn't just leave a man. She left the version of herself that thought she had to pay for love. Elias thought he was the one holding the cards. He didn't realize that in a relationship, the person who is willing to walk away always has the upper hand. If you enjoyed seeing this ultimatum blow up in his face, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Comment below. Have you ever had a partner try to negotiate your commitment? How did you handle it? And if you want more stories of people finally standing up for themselves, hit that subscribe button. I'm Revenge Engine, and I'll see you in the next one.